now we are ready really to continue our work. As you know, and it was mentioned already, we have also the support of the International Atomic Energy Agency, and actually the next talk is coming from there. So Sotirios, please, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Is it too loud? No. Okay. No, I will try to be on the side. It's okay.
You should get closer to the mic.
Okay, good. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear colleagues, I would like to start this presentation by first thanking some colleagues here, Professor Litov, Iota Foka, and President Zikas for this invitation. I'm really happy to be with you, and I'm double happy because it's my hometown, and this is an exciting meeting for me also for this reason. We were discussing a lot in the previous hours about capacity and the necessity of having capacity activities for Sea East. And from my side, I would like to present you a few slides on the role that the International Atomic Energy Agency has in building capacity through technical cooperation projects. As you will see, Sea East is actually the beneficiary of a technical cooperation project of the IAEA. I know that many people are not aware of what IAEA is, so that's why allow me please to give you the profile and some information about the agency. So the agency is actually an autonomous international organization belonging to the United Nations. In that sense, the IAEA deals with all countries in the world, except of a couple of those, and it is the platform where you can disseminate knowledge, you can disseminate information, and you can respond from all over the world. So the headquarters of the IAEA is in Vienna. Currently, there are 173 member states. We are something like 2,500 plus people working there. And the IAEA has also laboratories in Cybersdorf, a small town outside Vienna, the famous Monaco laboratories for marine research. And there are, of course, regional offices in Toronto, Tokyo, New York, and so on. Now, the mission of the IAEA is clear. It was defined some decades ago. And the first thing is the IAEA is obliged to assist member states in planning and using nuclear technologies for various peaceful purposes. It is clear. This is number one. The next one is that we are obliged to facilitate transfer of knowledge in a sustainable manner to all member states. I underline in sustainable manner because this means that the IAEA is not really funding R&D as such, but has mechanisms to develop technologies, to make them established technologies, and then disseminates the knowledge what is gained out of it to its member states. There is, of course, a very specific task for the IAEA is to guarantee safety and security in all nuclear installations and take measures to promote protection of humans against the ionizing radiation. This is... Yeah, sorry. I thought I was too loud. That's why. Okay. I also need to see what I'm talking about. That's why. So anyway, and of course everybody knows that the IAEA is the police across the world about proliferation of nuclear weapons and so on. So the IAEA is actually obliged to verify through inspection system that states comply with their commitments to use nuclear material and facilities only for peaceful purposes. I think this is actually the main, maybe, let's say, the most known activity of the IAEA, making all the inspections in different countries. So the structure of the IAEA, a few words. There are 6 departments, and apart from the Department of Management, I hope I will find the laser here. Well, no, that wasn't clever. Okay, apart from the Management Department, there is the Safeguards Department, Nuclear Safety and Security, Nuclear Energy, Nuclear Sciences and Applications, where I'm coming from. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I hope we are now fine. And there is, of course, one department called Technical Cooperation, which is very relevant for our discussion later. Now, if you want somebody, if the talks will be distributed, then you can find here a nice link where you can read a bit more about this. Actually, the main areas of work of the IAEA is science and technology, safeguards and verification, and safety and security. So we will limit ourselves to this area of work, science and technology. And what are the actually the programs that are running and their relevance to human, to society and development? There are measures and actions that addressing sustainable agricultural development, food security and nutrition, cancer diagnosis and treatment modalities, clean water for the member states, protecting the environment, and providing expertise for industrial applications. Amazingly, in almost all these fields, accelerators get into that. And it is very, very encouraging for us to see a project also like CEAST dealing with accelerators. Now, what is a technical cooperation? What is a technical cooperation program? This is actually the main activity of the Technical Cooperation Department. So the TC program, the Technical Cooperation Program, is the major mechanism to transfer knowledge to member states. Okay? This modality should address key development priorities in areas like health and nutrition, food and agriculture, water and environment, industrial applications, and so on. The TC programs are based on projects that can be national, regional, or interregional. It's clear what is a national program. It is driven by the needs of one country. Regional are projects that are of interest for more than one country, like CEAST, for example, and interregional is when we are dealing with at least 2 continents. Now, there are some key principles for TC projects. They have to contribute to development goals, so you cannot ask for implementing a TC project if it doesn't have a development character, simply talking not a basic research, for example. They have to match the needs of the member states. The TC projects have to comply with safety and security rules of the IAEA. For example, you cannot build a laboratory with radiation that is not securing safety for the personnel. The member state that is running the project should accept the ownership, which means actually to be responsible also for its implementation. And of course, the projects have also to be transparent to the to international community. Now, what are the main modalities to run a TC project? There are 4 of those. The first thing is measures for capacity building, measures for networking, measures for knowledge sharing and partnership building. I have the impression they all match to the needs of the East from what I heard before. So, and these are implemented through fellowships, scientific visits, equipment and materials purchase, training courses and workshops, conferences and symposia, and expert assistance. I don't want to go through the details of this figure here, but just to give you the feeling how a TC project is set up and how it runs. First of all, you have to prepare this. You have to consult with the IAEA, with your community and so on, and it takes about 2 years to prepare the project. In the case of CEAST, that happened between 2018 and 2019, because the corresponding regional project, as you will see, started in 2020. So, you have the 2-year design process, and then you have the implementation, and theoretically, a TC project can run for many, many years, but we say that in the first place, 4 years are enough, because you have to evaluate, see what are the outcomes, and so on. So anyway, a project can run easily up to 4 years in the first place. So, my experience with CEAST, it was in January 2018 when this forum on new international research facilities in Southeast Europe was organized by Dr. Sasa Damjanovic, at that time Minister of Science of Montenegro. It was held in Trieste, in Italy, at the ICTP. There were many people there, and during the event, the IAEA was asked to support capacity building measures, and the IAEA immediately granted $500,000 for this purpose. And I don't know if you can see it, but here is the distribution across the years. It's almost something like, 500 million. 500 million. Sorry, that is too much. That is too much. I'm just getting dizzy with zeros. Okay, it's $500,000. Anyway, so this is the TC project with the code RER 6039. This project is administratively coordinated by my colleague Mayumi Yamamoto, and I am the scientific technical officer, which means I'm dealing with all the evaluations, with all the, let's say, scientific aspects, technical aspects of the project. And I'm really glad to be with you because I need also your feedback during this meeting for that project. Okay. When you are running a TC project, there is a special methodology to coordinate and implement the project. We call it the logical framework approximation model, which is actually very similar. It is the basis of the management methodology that also the EC is following, but it has a different name. And this model was developed by the United Nations to coordinate technical assistance to developing countries, to its member states. So anyway, I'm not going to, to demonstrate how this operates, but for every technical project, we have the outcome. What do we expect for this project? And as you will see here, for the case of CEAST, the outcome should be the critical mass to create critical mass for construction and operation of the hadron therapy facility, okay? These are the indicators, how you will check if this is true. You can read this. I don't want to go into details, but for example, I just want to mention one. An indicator that this was achieved is to have the engineers and scientists trained for that purpose. And how you verify this is actually reports, these are meeting minutes, and so on. And there are some assumptions which seems to be very crucial for the successful implementation of your project. In this case, the major assumptions for the case of the Southeast, the East project, is to have political and economical situation in the region to assure for proper functioning of the healthcare system in the participating member states, and to have support the national programs on cancer treatment and so on, which indirectly means the project should have the support of the political and the economical authorities, bodies in the region, okay? I will go then to the directly lower level of management, which are the outputs, okay, of the project. What do we really expect to have tangible after some time? And this is, in that case, to have qualified staff ready to construct and operate, to improve the knowledge among the stakeholders about this modality, and to have knowledge transferred to the research community. These are, again, the indicators, the means of verification, for example, training certificates, project reports, and so on. And we go further, and these are the activities. So what should really be done in everyday life to proceed with the project, to evolve? We have to have training activities on engineering and medical physics aspects for the hadron therapy facility. We have training on knowledge of technologies and so on. And here there is a very important assumption that there is interest and commitment by the stakeholders of the project. In praxis, for the Sea East project, we have following for the activities. What was planned and what is actually in the formal document of the project for the moment. In 2020, we were supposed to have financed 2 fellowships and 1 scientific visit, a group visit, okay? In 2021, we have another fellowship. Initially, there was also a discussion about a 4th fellowship, but because of the topic, it was rejected. But we could think, when we discuss about this, if we can, think some other measures to continue with that. In 2021, there was supposed to be also a workshop. 2022, a group scientific visit. 2023, another visit, 2 more visits and 2 more workshops. Okay? So you see the distribution across the years. Now, what is now the current situation? Fellowship on accelerator aspects. The host institution, according to the program, is CERN. And we have 2 topics for this training that actually engineering aspects mostly, okay? Training in beam transport design, training in magnet design, and there is a 3rd fellowship on dedicated range modulators for fast irradiation of mobile targets and GSI in Germany. As I said before, I'm dealing with this from the scientific and the technical evaluation side. What we have so far, we received 3 applications, okay? The first application came from a colleague, Ms. Dimitrova from Bulgaria, on topic 3, to go to GSI. I had the pleasure to evaluate and approve the application, but maybe because of COVID-19 conditions, Ms. Dimitrova withdrew her interest to go there. So from my side, I can say that this is a fellowship to be announced as soon as possible by the counterpart, which I think is Montenegro solely. Okay? I had also a second application from Albania, from Mr. Niko Hika. It was very unpleasant to reject his application because his profile as a medical physicist was, somehow not the proper one to deal with accelerator aspects, with engineering aspects. Okay? And we have a third applicant, Mr. Milos Manolovic from Montenegro. His profile was fully matching to that, to his training goal. So he was approved. He went to CERN. I think formally the mentor was Professor Bretonar. And as far as I know, he finished that now. And in a few days from now, I will complete his final evaluation report. So recently, we received a communication from Ms. Mila from Montenegro that there is a case of a candidate from Bosnia and Herzegovina. So we are waiting to see how it will evolve in the coming, let's say, months. But please keep in mind that internally we have some deadlines at the IAEA, and this deadline is about to be May 2022. Okay? So then, about the current status on workshops. Okay? So we had recent suggestions received for changes in the program by Minerva and some other colleague to do following. The workshop that was not held in 2021, to cancel this workshop and use the budget for Sea East working group workshops and meetings. Also, the two other workshops, which are pending actually, the proposal was to decrease the budget down to 20,000, and what is remaining to shift this to workshops of the working groups. Okay? This request came very formally to the IAEA, so we have to decide very formally on that, and this is what we think. So the budget that is, is gained from this decrease of workshop budgets supposed to support meetings of 3 working groups, 1, 2, and 3. So what the first one has to do with HITRI Plus trainings. So here we are not actually negative to do this change, but there are some technical questions. For example, are the participants going to pay participation fees? This is very important because if you support a project through finances, IAEA finances, fees are not allowed. Okay? Or what is the target audience? Who will select the IAEA funded participants? This sounds a bit technical and maybe for some people not so relevant, looking forward into the goal of the Sea East. But if you want to have the, let's say, the support, the real support, you have to define these conditions. Now, concerning the meetings of the working group 1 and 2, that have to do with the hub on green energy, the formation of IT hub, from the wording that we received, that also mentioning that these working groups will get together to prepare bidding projects for the EC, this is not foreseen within the program constraints by the IAEA. So it was very difficult for us, but we thought we cannot support this change. However, after some discussion, and I explained my colleagues that at least the last one, the working group 3, that has to do with imaging, it took us some discussion, and then I said to my colleagues, look, it has to do with imaging devices. At Cyberstar, we have imaging activities, so I don't think it's too far away. And I was really happy that this was accepted. So we would be really thinking of helping in that respect. So anyway, this is the situation with the technical project of SEAST. From the experience I gained all these years, I think what is missing is an intense communication with us. I mean, I heard a lot of advances, a lot of nice steps that CE took already, and we are not aware of this, and not only aware informally, this somehow has to be formally communicated to the IAEA. The IAEA, we have a lot, really, we are enthusiastic to support such a project because, in contrary to the evaluation by the, mentioned by the European Commission, it is a political project, and the IAEA is really a UN organization, and politics play a big role. This is one thing. The second thing is that the structure of a TC project requires discussion on technical issues prior to submitting a formal request. And this we would be happy to work with you, if there is some question how we would deal with this, if this is in compliance and so on, we would be happy to work on that. The third point I would like to mention is, because there was a lot of discussion, capacity building. Capacity building, you can achieve nice training activities, capacity building activities through the IAEA if we work together and prepare some nice project. And think also that the IAEA is not a European-only organization. It gives you access to North Africa, Middle East, beyond the borders of Europe. If you want to disseminate information about your plans, get partners from there that might be interested in that. You have a very nice platform, and this is the IAEA. So this is all. Before I'm closing, I want to acknowledge the presentation, and please don't hesitate to contact me if you need anything in that respect. A final comment is that I heard very nice presentations by Knauer and colleagues, and we are really very much interested in working with you, with the IAEA, in setting up maybe even a center of excellence, a collaborating center in this topic. A collaborating center means that there is a memorandum of understanding, of collaboration with the IAEA for 4 years, with a specific training program, for example, and so on. I would be happy to have this discussion with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sotirios. It's really will be helpful. First of all, I should make several comments. Actually, the main reason why we do not succeed with all these young people to send them to the centers after they were selected, the reason was COVID-19, including this lady, Snezhina. She's my PhD student, actually. The reason was COVID-19. She was supposed to go to GSI for 6 months, and it was not possible because practically GSI was closed at this time. So this is the main reason. So the COVID is the main reason that we are too late with the realization of this project. So here is the first question. As I understand, actually, we are in, so it will be possible to use the full all money, actually, which are selected this project during this and the next year. Is it true?
The budget of the CEAST TC project is under footnote A, which means is not allocated, it comes per request. So if we don't receive any request from you, the money is gone.
It's clear. Okay, but
yes, I can guarantee you that if you act the soonest possible, justify, that you want to revitalize the fellowships, I would be the first to work on that. Promise you.
We are actually thinking on two things. First of all, that with these fellowships now it's really difficult from one side. From another side, probably at this stage of the project a little bit early. But what we are thinking on really to organize workshops, which will be at the starting point, actually creating capacity in the region. Actually Montenegro is coordinating, let's put in this way, the project, and I hope that very soon we will come with some proposals, and I hope that you can help us to formulate the requests to the agency in the proper way.
Yes,
yeah,
I would be happy to help in this formulation. In the break, we had a discussion with Minerva, and the idea was, for example, organize a training workshop at now, okay? Put the people there to see and work and whatever, and we will try to do our best from our side to fund these people to come there. Okay.
Actually, we are trying now to form a group which will deal with this project, and really we will try to be more effective and to organize the work in better way.
There is a strong...
Then it was organized up to now, but really the COVID-19 was the main reason. We have also some, just to inform you, discussions inside the association board, what we can do and how we can do. We are just collecting information, but now we have a very clear picture from you, and so I at least know what you should do.
I'm happy for this. I just want to say also that in this project there are colleagues that are medical physicists or doctors, personnel from the IAEA. And there is, let's say, a question that is also, I also wonder why not. They asked explicitly, if you want to mobilize the community in this region, we don't see an event where you get, let's say, doctors, oncologists together and discuss their needs. Yeah.
This is the point.
You could organize this, I mean, somewhere in let's say, Greece, Bulgaria, or whatever, all the states, all the member states of CEAST. It would be a nice event. You could also, invite a few people from the IAEA to say their experience on that. Not necessarily a technical guy like me, and not an accelerator physicist. But anyway, this would be something, a great idea. You mobilize the community, you disseminate your plans, okay? And I think our minister sitting here will agree with that this is something that we need. I mean, to bring people together, to start thinking out of the box. There is a new, nice project, so let's do something commonly.
Just a second. Okay, and thank you very much. And concerning your proposal and the idea about the Center of Excellence, I would like to know what is the opinion, Sandro?
Collaborating center, if this is what you mean.
Yes, it's very nice idea. What we are doing now, we are working on cooperation agreements. Up to now we have with CERN, but also we are preparing with PSI, for example, Paul Schroeder Institute in Switzerland. We didn't discuss yet, but we would like also to have this kind of cooperation agreements with the 4 centers with ion therapy as well. So, Sandro, Maurizio, what do you think about this idea? Because it really sounds quite interesting.
I think this is the way to go. I completely agree. I think that we can really be operative quite soon through E3+, because there are already in place the means for doing these kind of collaborations. There are resources, money, to really welcome in the 4 facilities doctors, and this, I mean, is right. We need also to see oncologists and radiotherapists around this table, because these are the first users of this facility. So Through this kind of activity in ITRI Plus, you can really start creating the community around this project. And added to that, I think that is also possible to discuss specific agreement to train people with the different centers out of this modality of ITRI Plus, but under the umbrella of ITRI Plus, because yes, I mean, I think you need to start from postdoc and just graduated, eventually also for making PhDs. I presented the program. We are launching a PhD course with the university in Pavia, asking to the Ministry of Research for doing that. Yes, I mean, as Maurizio said, you need to grow the tree from the beginning, and let's discuss that. We can do it.
Cape Town, okay? So there are many, many opportunities, really.
If I may add,
this is a regional project, and I mean, if you imagine a national project can go, let's say, up to 400,000, for the next cycle, I would strongly advise to start thinking about this and go beyond a million. Have a nice project prepared. You have the whole region with you. So there are 10 countries. Okay? Okay, thank you.
if I may add more on the CNAO side instead of ITRI Plus, but is somehow also interlinked. In CNAO, as you have heard, we are building now a new infrastructure. It is also an occasion for young people, or also for more experienced people, to see and participate. And going back to their home institute, then in the region, and they will be useful for the construction of the facility, because they can see with their eyes and participate to the construction of a facility. So there are always things to learn. I mean, we ourselves, even if we have done a machine, we are now thinking to a new machine, and there is always something to learn, and can be useful also to establish, not with young but also with experienced people, maybe links in order to understand how is a real facility running, working, to better plan the future of your installation. So we are open to discuss.
Sounds very interesting. Thank you, Maurizio. Yeah.
Because actually, all is very nice, but how can we get out of an apparent contradiction in this fellowship scheme? Because on the one hand, we want to build in the region competencies that do not exist.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you well.
Yes, sorry, maybe a bit closer. On the one hand, we want to build in the region competencies that don't exist. But then, when we open a position for to train a person with these competencies, that person is refused because he does not have already those competencies. I'm referring to that fellow that was refused, actually. So it's clear that he didn't have the training required, but we wanted, nevertheless, he had a very good CV, so we were thinking that he could learn and then go back to his country with what he learned at CERN. So to me there is a contradiction in the scheme. So we want to train people on something, but they are ready to be trained.
It's a very special problem. The case, I was having a colleague from Kabul, in Afghanistan, who was trained in Hamburg for his master. So he went back to his country, and we granted the University of Kabul some money to set up the whole, labs and so on. And suddenly, the guy disappeared. He went back to Europe. In that sense, this is an even worse case. If your project is not progressing, all the people that you will train, they will not have any chance when they will go back. Think about this. This is really a very nasty problem you may face in the future. Was it not loud? You want me to repeat this?
No, but okay, thank you.
Okay, Sotirios, I would like to ask about the counterpart. We have one single counterpart at the moment, which is Montenegro, and this is a regional project requiring all the countries to be part of this project.
Yes.
So how do we do that with the national liaison officers? Do we proceed in signing the counterparts?
Minerva, I cannot tell you 100% because this is a job for Mayumi, you
Yeah.
know, but it's a good question. I will check with her.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this was my question.
Actually,
Thank
there
you.
was an idea to have a meeting in
Yes.
Vienna some time ago, but
Yes.
because of COVID,
Okay,
with
let's-
all the members.
Let's proceed with organizing this kickoff meeting, please.
Okay.
I will communicate the Montenegrin government.
Okay, okay,
because I
okay.
was the one who was part of the team who wrote this
Yes.
proposal, so I will help them.
No problem. I will talk with
organize.
Mayumi
Yeah,
about
okay,
this.
thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately, we are really very late already. Thank you very much once more, Sotirios. We gave us extremely helpful information, and I think that we will react on all this. Okay, thank you very much.